If there's one thing that I see divorcing couples doing wrong more often than not, it's the decision on how to handle the house where the couple has lived. While I'm not a lawyer and I'm not dispensing legal advice, take it from somebody who has helped hundreds of divorcing couples. There is a right way and 4 wrong ways to handle the house in a divorce. Tell your attorney you want to do it right. Hi, I'm Joe Manausa, author of The Business of Getting Business and the creator of Manausa.com, where I've helped tens of thousands of people buy and sell homes. I would like to help you too. If you already are a subscriber, thank you and welcome back. If you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming one now. We offer the most thorough and accurate housing market reports on YouTube, plus answers to your real estate frequently asked questions, and we also provide virtual tours of some of the most beautiful homes in Tallahassee. Simply hit subscribe to get started and the bell so that you're the most informed buyer or seller in your next real estate transaction. So what should a couple do with the house that they own when they decide to put an end to their marriage? Common sense leads to some simple solutions, but sometimes simple is not the best course of action. Some of the ways I've seen splitting couples handle the house in a divorce include: number 1, they continue owning the house and continue living together. While this one might surprise you, it's not uncommon to see ex-spouses live together for a period of time during and after a divorce. Typically, I see this done in an effort to soften the blow on children or keep expenses low for a period of time. Number 2, continue owning the house with one spouse in residence. Much like the solution that preceded this one, this choice is often made to reduce costs and to create a less crazy transition for the children. If I were to hazard a guess, I would think 2/3 of all divorcing couples that I've helped over the past 30 years selling real estate chose this solution. Sometimes each party contributes to the mortgage, other times the payment is made by just one party. Number 3, one spouse buying the house from the divorce. This is a popular option for divorces where the property has some family history. Perhaps the wife grew up in the home and would like to continue living there. Or maybe the husband had the home built to his specifications prior to or during the marriage. As we will demonstrate in the following examples, this potentially good solution usually works out poorly, but it doesn't have to. Number 4, sell the house prior to the divorce. This is the least convenient solution for most divorcing couples, as it requires both parties to work together to sell the home while also requiring each to find a new place to live. In a moment, I'll provide further insight regarding this option, one that rarely is chosen by divorcing parties. Number 5, sell the house after the divorce. Much like the prior option, this choice removes a significant joint asset and likely joint liability from the divorced couple. Most couples think it will be more convenient or better for the kids to sell the home after the divorce, and oftentimes the parties agree to extend the ownership period to allow for one of many reasons why it might be more convenient for the residing party. So those are the 5 potential ways to handle a house in a divorce. After helping hundreds of families through the process of selling a house due to divorce, hindsight has taught me that there is really only one way of doing this properly. You know, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I believe it typically is with good intentions of both parties in most divorces to choose a smart solution. Unfortunately, the emotional roller coaster that is a divorce often leads to one or both parties having a change of heart, and the unfortunate result often leads to a negative consequence for each party. The only good choice for each party is one where the parties no longer share ownership of the property, nor share the liability for any monies owed on the property. While it is common and normal for a married couple to share ownership of a house and a mortgage, it is definitely a mistake for warring parties to do the same. Even if the divorce and the subsequent relationship is congenial, there are still other considerations that promote the termination of all joint agreements and holdings. What happens if the ex remarries? What happens if the ex faces financial trauma? What happens if the congenial relationship hardens? I do not wish to regale you with any of the horror stories that I've witnessed when helping a divorced couple try to sell the home, but I will share 2 common situations that we see from time to time. I find it crazy to think that divorce attorneys will allow a divorced couple to maintain ownership of a home, yet provide no agreement on how these common issues are to be handled. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I've helped divorcing and divorced couples sell homes, and I've not seen these contingencies handled properly. For the first example, let's say Bob and Mary decide to divorce. The divorce agreement calls for Mary and the kids to stay in the house while it is being sold, and Bob is to make payments until the house is finally sold. This is a common scenario. There may or may not be an agreement on how many payments Bob is committing to. Typically there's not, or at least there is no conditions on what happens after that period of time. So in our example, let's say that after one payment, Bob loses his job and stops making payments on the property. Bob did not intend for this to happen, but life happens. In fact, Bob spirals into a pit of despair and is never heard from again. Sure, his credit is ruined, but now Mary must figure out how to make payments or her credit will be ruined too. And she also has the children to take care of. If Mary does not get the home sold in time, some or all of the equity could be consumed by late fees or Liz filing fees that occur when a few payments are missed. On top of all that, the closing could be delayed when the title company cannot track down Bob, something I've unfortunately experienced on more than one occasion. Can you see how, in this example, how a well-intentioned plan ended up hurting Mary through no fault of her own? Had the home been sold as a condition of the divorce, Mary would have received her equity from the home before Bob even lost his job. Additionally, Bob's equity might have helped him after he lost his job. Now, what about a different example using the same couple and the same agreement? What happens when Mary decides that Bob is a jerk and she's no longer going to let any realtors show the home? In fact, she really enjoys the fact that he alone is making payments on the house in which she lives. What if she does not maintain the home and the yard and works hard to not sell the home? After all, she is living there for free, right? How can Bob force a sale? Does he first have to evict his ex-wife who has a right to live there free of charge? Yes, we've seen this scenario too. What happens in this scenario ends up being a legal issue, not a real estate issue, and the outcome is nasty and financially draining. Bob and Mary's agreement was mutually agreed upon, and it was done with good intentions to ensure the kids transition to a new normal without being ripped from the family home. Unfortunately, this agreement rarely handles the curveballs that life can throw at us. I think the reason that most people mishandle the house in a divorce is that they are drafting the divorce agreement as a couple. Even most dysfunctional couples still think and act supporting the family dynamic. But once a divorce is finalized, there is a true separation mindset that takes over. This is not the time for one party to discover a loophole. My best non-legal advice for both parties to a divorce is to require the sale of all real estate immediately. It should require both parties to evacuate the property at the same time and work for a fast sale in order to satisfy all liens and debts so that neither party can be harmed by the other due to the house and its encumbrances. Simply put, if you're getting divorced, sell the house immediately. If there's not enough equity, short sale the house immediately, or do a deed in lieu of foreclosure and let the bank deal with it. Do not let the house become a joint liability to divorced parties. It rarely works out to the benefit of both parties. I hope my explanation has been informational. If so, please take a moment to like the video below. Also, if you think I've omitted any other scenario, please share it with me and other viewers in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's loaded with housing market reports and answers to questions from viewers just like you. For example, do you know the best way to make an offer on a home in a seller's market? You can find out by watching the video on the top left, or browse through other questions and answers we've recorded by clicking on the box below it.